Greetings and welcome to Taronis Fuels webinar. It is now my pleasure to introduce your host, Scott Mahoney. Thank you, sir. You may begin.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our presentation today. We're going to move relatively quickly. We have a lot to cover, and we're excited to give you a comprehensive update. First, just a brief introduction to the company. What do we stand for? So if you see on the slides here, our three core values: cleaner, safer, smarter. What does that mean? We're an environmentally clean tech company. Our primary objective is to provide renewable fuels that help shift the economy more and more to the hydrogen-based, cleaner solution. Safer. All the technology that we offer in our fuel products are fundamental shifts and improvement in safety for labor and for the people handling our products every day. Smarter. Our products have to be economically superior and functionally dramatically improved relative to incumbent fuel-based products. If you take a look at the next slide, you're going to see the addressable markets that we serve today. So our primary fuel product is a product that competes with metal cutting fuels. It supplants acetylene, which is about an $8 billion global market. Then our next product that we think we'll have out within 2 years will be a propane product that is up in the mid-$20 billion global market opportunity for us. And then we can get to cheaper and broader fuel products as we expand our technology and improve the economics of making our gas. So just briefly, next slide is going to show you we operate under two very different business models. Domestically, we have a very complex, comprehensive solution. Overseas, we're strictly selling a very narrow set of products to a very targeted audience. The benefits there is it's more CapEx light and it's less human capital intense. So let's just briefly talk about our technology. The image you're going to see on the screen here is basically a plasma arc suspended in a vacuum chamber. And what we do is we basically take away any potential contaminants, molecular structures that could somehow mix with our process. So we get to a vacuum chamber, and then we introduce a waste feedstock. So in this case, we're going to specifically introduce medical-grade waste ethanol. It's introduced to the vacuum chamber. The arc breaks down the molecular bond, and what happens is Mother Nature takes over. And the primary product that we get out of that chamber is ionized hydrogen. It's ionized because the plasma arc is emitting electrons on a constant basis that need to find a home, and they're going to attach themselves to and create a very interesting modified hydrogen. So in the next slide, we're just talking about the various feedstocks that we have access to. We've used multiple versions of our gas. We started out with a slurry that included diesel fuel, antifreeze, vegetable oil. We've narrowed it down to very, very specific inputs for cost and for efficacy. So today we use medical grade waste ethanol, commonly used in pharma, food packaging, bottling, a number of other applications for sterilization. It's a very, very common, very, very inexpensive source of material. On the next slide, you're going to see some logos here. Some will be familiar, some will not. If you're in the industrial gas business in the United States, all of these are household names. These are the leaders of technology in our space, and we have partnered with over 20 of them to produce, at this point, almost 40 independent technology validations. Next slide is going to show you what I think is one of the most important items or aspects of the entire story of our company. You can see that bar in red. What that basically is showing you is as time has progressed, we have been able to take out a huge percentage of cost of our production. So since the current R&D team took over in 2012, we have driven our cost to produce a cubic foot of gas down by almost 90%. And we think we'll do that again over the next couple of years. It's that economic improvement that's made us competitive, and it's given us an advantage in otherwise a very interesting industry. So we're going to take a look at the next slide, and you're going to see basically 5 blue bars, and those are common, widely used flame temperatures for metal cutting fuels like acetylene and propane, propylene, and others. red is ours. So that incremental temperature is coming from the ionized hydrogen. Regular hydrogen does not heat nearly as hot as our gas. Ours is unique. That turns into some really interesting functional benefits. If you look at the next slide, you're going to see on the left a graphic of an acetylene torch. And basically what you're seeing is that area of orange and the little bit of yellow coming out into the orange. None of that is really hot enough to actually cut metal. It's only that small inner core of about 1 inch to 1.5 inches that's hot enough to pierce and cut metal. Because of the ionization, our flame is moving away from the point of origin on the left side of the right graphic so fast that we create a near 100% uniform flame. So if we have a 4-inch flame, it can all cut steel. If it's an 8-inch flame, it can all cut steel. So if you see on this next page, you see these two pictures. You're looking at our gas doing things that the incumbent technologies cannot do. Whether it's the thickness of the plate on the left or simultaneously cutting through the top and the bottom of the I-beam on the right, those are things that acetylene and propane cannot physically do. So now that we've given you a little bit of a background on our technology, I'm going to hit you with our business model. So domestically, what we basically do is we use our gas as a door opener. It generates interest. People are willing to take a demonstration. They've heard about it. It's a new product. It's innovative. So they try it out. Now, the challenge is metal cutting fuel as a percentage of an overall potential customer's annual spend in our industry is small. It's usually about 3 to 5% of the overall customer's spend. So if someone is in the fabrication business, they're going to need to buy metal cutting fuel. They're also going to buy oxygen to mix with it. They're going to buy a whole bunch of other pieces of equipment, other gases, protective gear. So in order to effectively penetrate this market, we have created a network of retail stores and wholesale network that ultimately is fulfilling end customers' demands. And those end customers are in many different verticals, everything from agriculture, medical, construction, fabrication, demolition, many different end markets. And we've built this network over the last 3 years. It's growing rather rapidly. And we just done something really interesting about 3 months ago. Next slide is going to briefly summarize an acquisition we made to open ourselves into the wholesale market. And what's really exciting about this market is it's very heavily dominated and used as acetylene. So you've got HVAC contractors, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning contractors that have a little tote on the back of the truck that has a small bottle about the size of a 2-liter bottle of soda. And they're going to have something about that size of oxygen and another of acetylene. And they're going to carry that around to the work sites for heating up ducting, for cutting tubing, all sorts of little applications that they need each and every day. The acquisition we made got us into that market in Georgia, Florida, and Texas. And what's so powerful about that is the stay-at-home influences of COVID have created a spike in demand for HVAC supply gases to fix people's air conditioners while they're staying home every day. And so that's had a big impact on our business since we bought them in May. It's been a major catalyst for growth. And it's basically the way that we will do our domestic expansion over the next few years. So if you see the map here on this next slide, the dark blue, those are the states that we're in today. And to put this in perspective, we were in 2 locations outside of Clearwater, Florida, 3 years ago. Today, we're 29 locations, 6 new locations this year, many more slated for the rest of the year. This acquisition of TGS is the springboard to let us get into new markets very cost effectively and follow it with retail. So if you take a look at the next slide, what you're going to see here is our revenue growth and our outlook for this year. So we've gone from a little over 3 million in 17, we grew to just under 10 in 18, then over 21 last year. So more than a doubling every year. And this year we think we'll come close to doing it again. We think domestically we're going to do in the mid 30s, and internationally we'll add another 14, 15 million in revenue, putting us very, very close to, say, $45 to $50 million this year. That's a big accomplishment given the headwinds that are holding down a lot of other competitors in our industry. And we're all able to do this because we have this proprietary product. It's patented, it's unique, and it gives us a huge competitive advantage because we can price it at a fraction of the cost of the incumbent and then take away all that other ancillary business. So in summary, that's our domestic model. Next, we're going to take a look at the international growth. And this is where it starts to get a little bit more exciting. So if you take a look at this next slide, you're going to see three attributes of why our gas and our technology provides some rather compelling opportunities overseas. So the first is water conservation. So acetylene, which is the dominant technology used for producing metal cutting fuels overseas, needs a lot of fresh water, lots and lots of fresh water. Our manufacturing process doesn't need any water. So that immediately gives us a strategic competitive advantage at the government level in places like Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Kuwait, Turkey, and much of North Africa, all of the Middle East, and much of Central Asia, where water scarcity issues combined with young and growing populations, lots of industrial activities, and we can go in and offer the government entirely new benefits to moving away from acetylene, producing highly economic, clean gas, and it doesn't need water. So that's one of the reasons why we're having some real traction in a couple of countries I'm going to speak about in a moment. The other major attributes, so renewability. So we're a waste-to-energy company producing hydrogen-based fuels. That is smack dab in the middle of the mandate in Europe and a few other places where sustainability is actually created through tax incentives and penalties. People are compelled to become green. So we've got a major competitive advantage there. And then lastly, you've got safety. So in many places where we're targeting, they have less robust safety protocols than we do here in the States or in Europe. We're working with the government to say, look, we'll come in, we'll bring our technology, and we'll help you enhance the worker safety. So it's a win all around. So how do we actually move forward with this business model overseas? The next slide is going to show you. We have three basic models. One is owner-operated. So that's where we own 100% of the operations. We're directly marketing the product. We're making the gas. And we're fulfilling just our gas to the end market. So that model is what we're currently using to launch our European operations. Next, you've got partnerships. So this is where we may not look to sell the machine. We're looking to partner with someone. So we'll deliver our technology to someone with an installed customer base, and we will then let them market to their clients, and we share in the revenue. And the last is either joint venture or unit sale. That's where we're looking to monetize the machines that are being sold, and we may or may not get any ancillary revenue other than royalties thereafter. And that's ultimately what we're doing in Turkey. So the next slide is just going to show you we're launching in Amsterdam. We're wrapping up permitting. We expect to be done with that by the end of the year, generating revenue in Q1 of 21. And Amsterdam is one of your 5 largest ports in Europe. Very, very pro-green. There's a whole bunch of interesting tax incentives to being there. We believe we can make our gas for less than 10% of the cost of net to the customer of acetylene. So we've got huge price advantages. We've got a strong market that is very oriented towards things like shipbuilding and repair and fabrication. It's the logistical hub for almost all products coming out of Germany from the Rhine-Ruhr industrial complex. And it's a very easy place to navigate. It's a compact country, and there's a lot of commerce in a select couple cities that we can penetrate quickly. So the goal is Amsterdam first, Rotterdam within 6 to 8 months, and cover the Dutch map within 2 years. It's a pretty robust market. It's about a $75 million market, so even a small fraction of that market to us could be very meaningful. And it's a gateway to Germany. It's a gateway to Belgium. It's a gateway to the rest of Europe. It's an ideal launch point for us. Next slide is just going to give you a little bit of a graphic. If you look at the top, you're going to see what the actual design of our facilities looks like. It's not a huge footprint. It's only about 5 acres. We can put 5 machines there in parallel and produce 150,000 cylinders of gas a year. The competition retails at about 110 euros, so over $125. So you're talking about the potential to generate tens of millions of dollars of revenue from a fairly finite facility. Next, we'll see a slide summarizing opportunity in Turkey. We have a very large contract that we believe is just about to commence. We were required to ship a unit to Ankara, Turkey. It has been there since the first week of June. Travel restrictions are just starting to loosen up. We are intending to be in Turkey rather soon. We've not disclosed exactly when. When we're there, we turn on the machine. We demonstrate that our technology is fully operational under local power configurations. And then we will begin collecting deposits on a 5-unit order. So it's a total of $18.75 million in 4 progress payments. Those payments will be paid over approximately 6 months, and the first payment could come as soon as beginning of September. So it's a major catalyst for us going into the back half of the year. It's a very profitable contract. It's a scalable contract. Once the first 5 units are delivered, the contract calls for follow-on orders every 90 days. So there's quite a lot of revenue ramp under the initial 30-unit order, and it's a pretty exciting opportunity for our company. Last slide that we're going to move on to here is going to talk a little bit about our opportunity in the GCC. This is where we're looking to partner with an industry leader. We have one that we're very focused on. We've had dialogue with. We know who they are. They know who we are. There's an interest and desire on both parties to move forward with a partnership. And under this model, we're delivering a machine to an existing industrial gas partner, and then they're going to be converting their clients. And the target here is Bahrain. The reason why we're focused on Bahrain, it's a small island nation. It has no water at all. It has severe landfill restrictions. So the incumbent technology for submarine production produces a whole lot of waste. Physical concrete, it looks like basically crumbly concrete. And so they have difficulty sourcing the fresh water to make the gas. They have difficulties disposing of the waste from the gas. And they have difficulties importing the calcium carbide, which is one of the inputs to making the gas. It's a very dangerous product to handle. So they have frustrations at all phases of the process. And our product and our process solves almost all those pain points for them. And the fringe benefit is we can produce our gas for about half the cost of their production process. So it's a big competitive advantage. It's a big opportunity for us because that little island nation is separated from the industrial heartland of Saudi by a 20-mile bridge. So we can not only produce for the country of Bahrain, we can be marketing and penetrating into the Saudi market. And it's our desire to cover the Middle Eastern map here within a couple, 3 years. So we have a really good opportunity. We want to capitalize on it. And we think it's something that we could see happen here over the next couple quarters. So lastly, take a look at some of our notable clients. We have a lot of really great names that use our products every day. And I think it's our top priority to expand that list and then leverage that list to replicate that success globally. It's a very large market. It's almost $8 billion globally for our metal cutting fuel opportunity. And we're just getting started. So with that, we'll just stop here. We're kind of getting up closer to time. Michael, do we have any questions, or how are we doing?
The only question which you touched on a little bit was regarding the timing for the commissioning of the unit in Turkey. But that's it.
Okay. So just to clarify, it's our expectation that we'll be able to commence the contract most likely at the end of Q3. And ultimately, that should be a pretty major catalyst for the company going into Q4 and 2021. So with that, I want to thank everyone for taking the time to listen today, and we look forward to engaging many of you throughout the conference. Have a great day.
Thank you. This concludes today's webinar. You may disconnect your lines at this time, and thank you for your participation.